Hi YouTube, Fiona Corwin, and this is Willow. Willow was a surprise gift here recently from my daughter, who decided that she needed to rescue a pup. So we have a third dog now in our home that we are trying to make part of the family. So she'll be here with us today. I don't know how well behaved she'll be, but we'll see. So today I wanted to talk to you about transition and really some different perspectives on it and sort of where that ends. I was watching LV talk to one of the Trans by Deaf girls about this, and I wanted to just chime in with my 2 cents. I think for me, transition is difficult to define, right? Many trans people tend to lean on the beginning / end of medical transformation, right? Which is one view of looking at it. Many trans people will in fact opt to look at the date that they realized that they were incorrectly gendered and choose that as the beginning of their transition date, and the date where they are generally accepted as the gender that they identify as the date of completion. But I think life is more complicated than that. I think each of us is in transition, right? Like that's really what the dash in between your birth date and your death date is, right? It's a transition from one state to another. We're born, we identify as who we are, we come to be who we are through our struggles and trials, and then we basically become the people we're going to be. We settle in, we try to give some back to society ideally, and that's life. So I don't think transition ever ends, actually. I think regardless of how well people take me for the gender I identify as, I will always be trans. I will always be in transition. That's never been more clear to me than sort of this week, as I have had a couple of conversations with cisgendered women who, of course, took me 100% as a cisgendered woman, and really noticing in those conversations that I still have a lot to learn, despite the fact that they take me as a cisgendered female. It's interesting in that when I'm out with my wife, we have a tendency, because people will ask if we're sisters, we have a tendency to just sort of blurt out, well, we're married, which produced some interesting actions until fairly recently. In the state in which we live, we had civil unions, but we did not have same-sex marriage. And just recently, they struck down the same-sex marriage law that banned it here in Colorado. And as such, people now, when we say we're married, are like, oh, you guys got that done recently. That's awesome. And if we don't dig into that too far, generally we can pass as a lesbian couple, which is a level of privilege above a trans couple, right? My wife is cisgendered, and she is essentially bisexual. And what that means is really we qualify as a couple for at least 3 of the LGBT letters, just based on where you happen to be looking from. Both of us, strictly speaking, are bi, but you see a girl kissing a girl, those are lesbians. So a lot of it tends to be how we are perceived. Similarly, if I were out with a boy and kissing on him, it would be assumed that I was cis. So those are some of the interesting things about being trans. It's not ever over. We don't ever stop learning. We don't ever stop having to suit up and show up to really be the people we intend to be. I think one of the greatest dangers of transition is deciding that you're done. And it's an attractive choice. I think that so many of us struggle for so many years to be who we are, and that when we finally get there, the fight is mostly gone from us. We don't actually want to continue to have that conversation. People accept us as the gender we profess to identify as. That's goal achieved. People don't push it. And even myself, I will really generally only mention that I am trans when it's relevant. I use this channel in an effort to help you guys, and Fiona Corwin is a pseudonym. It's a name, a pen name, if you will, for my private identity. My private identity is simply put a lesbian woman for the most part. Few people know that I'm trans. I've been very sort of selective about who I tell, and I think if you've watched some of my videos, you know that there are people who knew me prior to transition, stating that my view is when I began transitioning and stopped trying to live as the gender I was assigned at birth. But who knew that person, who come up and start new and vital and interesting friendships with me. And that has been an amazing experience, to sort of step aside from all of the mistakes that may have been made in friendships previously. All the missteps are sort of avoided, and people generally will see what they want to see. Will always be a pest. So, really, I guess that's it. I think transition is a lifetime process. I think becoming who we are as humans, regardless of gender status, is a lifetime process. Life will distill you slowly over time, and that's just the nature of the beast. So, I think with that, I will close. Sorry it's been so long since I last checked in. As you know from watching these kind of videos, the further you get into transition, the greater the tendency to sort of have longer and longer spots in between videos. And I don't mean anything by that other than to say that, life happens. And I've been busy living life. Daughters have been bringing puppies, and I've just been busy. I finished, that's some stuff I can talk about. I finished calculus, and that was cool. And I am working on a strategic management class this summer, which should wrap up the end of next week. So, also very exciting, nearly done there. I will be graduated with a degree in business administration by December of 2014. So, that's fantastic. So, remember, life is beautiful. Every moment precious. Hug the ones you love. Tell them you love them. I love you, Willow. Call your mama. She misses you. Take care. Bye-bye.